Hey, good afternoon, everyone. It's me, Holly, again. Um, okay, so today I want to tell you about another. This is a vision, but I call it an HD vision, 3D vision, because the Lord God in heaven did something unusual than He normally does with me on this vision. Now, before I describe that, I want to give you a little backdrop about me and the way that God works with me, the Lord God in heaven. Since I was very young in my youth, the Lord God in heaven had given me the gift of discernment, high discernment, right? But when I was young, excuse me, the noise. If you hear the noise in the background, those are the neighbors outside on the terrace. Okay. So anyway, um, so the way that the Lord God in heaven works with me, from my youth, I was always a very high discernment. However, when in my youth, I always question it. Like how could it be that I know this thing? How could it be that I know that? How could it be that I know this? It's very different. The high discernment is very different from visions and dreams. High discernment is when you can walk into a place, or you know, or somebody comes up to you, whatever, and you kind of know and feel what is up with them before they, you really get to know them. You kind of, it's just something, it's not that you're going to know their whole everything about them, blah blah blah. It's that you will know kind of what they feel about you. A sudden, or where you will not urge, but a sudden feeling will come over to you that you will know what they just some light feeling for you, even for that moment or whatever the case may be. You kind of will know. It's it's kind of hard to explain. It's not hard to explain, but it is. It's not that you're going to know their whole future, but you will know some things about them. You may know some things about okay, so let's get back into what I'm saying. So that's how he worked with me, and then as I later in my 20s, he gave me the gift of, in my later 20s, the gift of visions and dreams upon me praying and asking for it. I wanted to know. That was my big deal. I felt like I should know. So I prayed about that, and lo and behold, one day it wasn't immediate, um, but it did happen, and he let me know when I had my first vision. It was like I was like totally in awe, and I was like so surprised. I was like, wow, did I just have a vision there? And I did. So I just want to kind of let you know that, and that I had, that was the time when I got the gift of visions, not only visions but dreams as well, at that particular time in my later 20s and stuff like that. So now here we are, and that's what I want, the backdrop I wanted to explain to you, so that you understand that when I tell you that on this particular vision, the Lord God touched my ear. It was my left ear. It was my left ear. He touched my ear. It was because of something that I had prayed about and asked him concerning this. I was on the patio again, okay, at the restaurant, and there were cats and dogs acting really crazy sometimes at night, particularly the cats, and they were screeching, which was never before that. And this one particular cat, and when I would hear him, I would look, and I was like, "What is wrong with this cat?" Because there's no other cat fighting with it. Normally, cats will make this weird sound, like it's just a weird sound when they are either they're fighting with another cat or some other dog or animal, or they're really, really hungry. So it was that weird sound, but I didn't get the feeling it was hungry, because these cats I knew for a fact wasn't hungry. This particular cat, because this cat and most of the cats in that neighborhood who hang around under that patio are not hungry, because they have homes. So I know the cats because there's the homes down the street, and they just come out running around. So they eat pretty well. Um, and so on this particular time, I'm sorry, people, that I'm moving the camera around. I really am. Let me just try to get a good focus. Okay, there you go. Okay, so they were moving around, and this one cat was acting really weird. Not they, I'm sorry. One cat was acting really weird this night and for a few nights. And so I asked the Lord, what is wrong with that cat? Because when I looked out, it wasn't fighting with any other cat or any other animal or any other dog. It's not like there's a whole bunch of animals over there. It's just cats mainly, and at night it's the stray dogs come out. So it was just by itself going bananas with making the sound. So, and I knew it wasn't hungry. So the Lord God in heaven said to me, wait. And so every time I know he says wait on, well, not every time, but on these particular instances when I ask a question like that and he says that he's going to show me the answer to my question, and it's usually via a dream or a vision. So I waited, and that day nothing, that night nothing. The next night, while I was out on that patio, I could feel the Lord God's hand touched me on my left ear and did like this, like that. It was definitely his hand, definitely. Nobody else on the patio but me. So it was definitely his hand, and I knew instinctively. And being a discernment person with discernment, I can, I always know whether it's a good spirit or bad, and the bad spirits wouldn't get that close to me, and I'll tell you, not for that, they wouldn't get that close without me knowing that the Lord God has blasted them, and that's something that did happen to me once on my foot, but I'm going to explain that in another video. So this particular night, he did just like that. And I was like, okay. So when he did that, I was like, this is going to be a 3D, because this has got to be HD-3D, because I already have the gift of vision and dreams and something else was called the opening of my ear, which I can always hear the enemy coming or what he's doing. The Lord God in heaven always allows me that through my ears. I always tell people I can always, when you talking to me, I may not hear you when you talk loud, but I can always hear the spiritual world and low whispers. So I have that yet. So that's why I knew, I was like, this is going to be something really spectacular, where the Lord's going to give it to me in HD and 3D form. Okay, and he's going to even open my ears wider to what he wants me to hear. So I waited, and that night, I would say about maybe 30 minutes after that, I hear coming down the street, and the way that I'm sitting on the patio, there is, like, say for instance, if I were sitting there right now, right? There's an opening right here on the side of me. You can see everything in here. The patio is like open. You can see it's like a restaurant patio, okay? And then you go this way, that's the corner of the street. That hits the corner of that street. And then if you keep going on this side, this is all the patio. And then there's another opening. The opening is the stairs. That's it. You can see the whole patio and everybody walking by in the street. It's just the opening where the stairs is. One is on that end, and the other one is on the alongside where I was sitting, right? So, and then there's a street. This is the street, and then people are walking. They walk in. As they walk, it's like I'm toward the end. The patio is toward the end of the street. So if I hear somebody walking, they have to get to where I am before I can see them, right? Okay. So in this instance, I could hear this sound coming from. It was clear. It was like I could hear. Oh, here it comes. That's what I was saying to myself, because what I was hearing was like a slide, like somebody's feet is like they're walking, and somehow that second foot can't quite do it that well. It's like you're dragging the second leg, right? So this thing was, whatever it was dragging. That's what's the sound, and then along with that sound was like, I don't know, it's like a tin can. You have tin cans and you're dragging that too or something, or it's shuffling as you go, making noise. And then it was also the sound of stones. Stones were dropping from this thing as it walked. Clunk, clunk, clunk. I could hear it because I know the sound of stones. Clunk, right? So I was like, boy, I was sitting there quiet, like I'm just going to wait until this thing gets here because I'm really interested to see what this thing looks like. And I'm going to tell you something, people. It is a definite gift of God that you can have when you have dreams and visions, but it's not for everybody because you have to always be ready for what you're going to see, and that's not always easy. It may sound like a fun for me, but I'm a person because early on in my youth, I had an instance with the enemy, who's some demons, and because I was who I am, not because of I'm bigger and better, because I had this temper. When I came in, not a real temper, but when I came home from work that day, that night, okay, I didn't want to hear nothing, or I was just tired. It wasn't that I was expecting something to happen, but anyway, what I'm saying to you is I had an instance already where I fought. And so, and things were shown to me after that. And so the Lord God in heaven sort of prepared me for that. So for what I am now, which is not really afraid of any of that. So when I see a vision and a dream and stuff like that, it doesn't really scare me. So when I say you have to be prepared for it, you have to have you cannot be the weak at heart. You cannot be a person who is going to get up, be shaken so very quickly. Okay, because this thing coming down the street could have shaken anybody once you saw it, and if you forget about seeing it, once you heard it. So when it got to me, after that dragging of the feet, and the stones falling off of it and all of that, and when I saw what it was, this could have put anybody in a what do you call a heart arrest or anything if you weren't prepared for that, But as the Bible says in Psalm 144, I've taught your hands to war. I teach your hands to war, meaning that I've already taught your hands about this. So this is nothing to you. This is a light thing. So, and that's basically what type of person I am. It doesn't shake me. So when I saw this demonic blob, it was pitch black. It was, how you see, what it looked like? In the shape of, in the shape of one of those, the commercial, the Hershey's commercial, and it's like and the person is dressed like a Hershey's, but it was darker than that. It was not a Hershey's. It was definitely not a Hershey. It was like a big, thick, nasty, thick black blob, okay? And as it walked, you could hear the stones and this dragging, things falling off of it, and some things that sounded like a tin. And as it walked past me, I was like, I just had to okay, just keep still and just watch. So, and it walked along to the end of the block, like I told you, to the street, and then it walked across like it's going to the other opening of the patio. And it did. When it got to that other opening of the patio, and I was sitting there with the Lord, I was like, now, this thing better not come up on this patio. I don't care how much of 3D. This thing better not come up on this patio. So it didn't. It just sat there. And I was just saying that in my mind, this is a beaming back and forth to the Lord God in heaven. I don't mind these visions, but don't let that thing come sit over here near me now. So it didn't. It sat on the stairs. And it just sat there. Now, because this is a 3D means the Lord God in heaven is going to also use your surroundings for this vision. It's HD-3D. That's what I call it. That's my name. That's nothing written in biblical. So let me just say that before people come and be, oh, where's that written? No, that's something I call it because I already have the gift of vision and dreams and stuff like that. So when he touched my ear, that meant to me, okay, you're going to further open my eyes for something. And to me, when I say 3D HD, he's using my surroundings for this vision, my immediate surroundings, and he did. Okay? If I didn't know it was a vision, I could easily say this happened in real life, but it was just a vision. Okay, right where I was sitting. Okay, so it walked around to the other stairs, right, and it sat down. Now, in the neighborhood, in this particular neighborhood, They're on motorcycles. They're called neighborhood securities, right? And so there's one in that particular neighborhood whom I know, and he's usually on the motorcycle, and he jumps into action, and I was like, oh boy, this is so real, but it was a vision, and it's so funny because this is so real. He's using my surroundings and some of the people. So this guy comes rolling by really fast, and he stops in front of that, where the guy sitting in front of the stairs on his motorcycle. And he was like, in Spanish, he was saying, what are you doing here? He was saying that, no puede sentarse aquí. In other words, he was telling you can't stay here. You cannot be here, sir. You have to go. And he said this in Spanish. So I was just listening. I'm sitting there listening and watching. And so the guy, this blob thing comes out and starts to explain to him what happened to him, okay? He explains what happens to him. He says he was at the hospital and he just got released from the hospital. This is what he's saying, okay? And so the guy was like, okay, I understand that, but you can't be here. That's what he's saying. You cannot be here. So he goes on to explain it in the second time. Now, as he's explaining the second time, I said, well, something in me said, I want to test the waters because this guy here, I want to see if this is like a real vision where they can't see me, because I'm like trying to figure it out. So I got up and kind of walked toward one of the tables that still was a few feet from, because where I was at, I was sitting on the bench, and I was still a few feet from this thing, but I was like sort of a few feet behind him. And I start waving like this and doing all of this and jumping up and down to see if the guard was going to say something, because the thing, I was behind it and I don't think it would have seen me, but it probably would have heard me jumping and stuff like that. But it did. Nobody said nothing. Nobody said nothing. And I said, well, if this is not a vision, and I know it was a vision, I just wanted to kind of like, I can't help myself, just test things out and have a little fun with it. But I just was doing that, woohoo, not that, but I was just like, yeah, hey, I wasn't saying anything because I said I'm not going to say anything to interrupt this, but I'm going to wave my hand around to try to get the security's attention. I said, well, if he's talking to the guy now, he'll probably come later and and say something to me, but he never did. He never did. And so I was like, that's a vision, because he would have said to me, well, do you have a question or something? But he never did. So after the third time the guy's explaining, I'm like, what is his problem? I'm thinking to myself, what is this blob's problem? Get up and get out of here. It's like, that's enough already. The guy's telling you, the security is telling you can't be here. So on the third time, the security said, look, you can't stay here. I'm sorry that happened to you, but you can't stay here. So he got up and went the same way he came, down this way to the end of the street and back down where he came, right? So now, as for the cat that was going off, the reason why I had asked in the first place, the door guy had me show me the cat, and the cat was screeching again and going off and with nobody around it. And then, but I heard something crazy and amazing as after the cat ran under the patio, I heard bloop, 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 and I was like, what is that? And then the Lord God in heaven put something in my spirit. That is those demonic spirits, what they call the alien demons. And I'm going to talk about that in another video, because the fallen and these alien demons are two different things. People got it twisted. Oh, that's the fallen. The alien demon is going to come. They're the fallen. No, that's not the truth. They'll be there too, but they're two different types of demons. Okay, I mean there are three types, but these two are two different types. Okay, so I'm going to tell you more about that in another video. And so this thing was bleeping off, and that's why the cat was going crazy. And I was like, oh my God. So when I tell you, and this dream was after the falling. Remember I told you the dream, I saw them come, them fall down in the thick darkness and streaks? That's what that was. This was after that, this dream. So what I'm saying to you is that there are things here that you can't see, but they're already acting up. And during the time when the 3 days of darkness comes, you're going to see what those things are. Okay, so that's what this was, and they sometimes bother the animals. So if your animals are acting up and acting weird, this is the reason why. All right, but this is what the Lord God showed me in the vision. Okay, not that it's happening right now, but during this time, which is going, well, during that time, which is going to be the second wave of COVID, which is what this dream is about. It is about it. The Lord God in heaven is showing me the second wave of C. I don't want to say that COVID because I don't get myself in trouble. I'm sorry. We're not supposed to say that on YouTube anymore. So the second wave of C is when this is going to happen. So be very aware of that. This is what this is about. The second wave coming. It is coming. Okay. And what I want to say about this dream. Oh, I'm not done yet. I'm sorry. After he went back, and I said to Lord God, "Shoosh, that's it. It's over." He said, "No, wait." Okay, wait. So I waited, and I'm gonna say it was anywhere between 10 to 20 minutes or whatever. And here the thing comes back, the same sound coming back down the street. I was like, "Oh my God, what is this? What's going on with this thing?" But I know it was a vision. So I'm like, the Lord God is showing me something, so I gotta see what this is, so I can know how to explain it in the video. So when this thing came back at the opening where the opening that was closest to me, right? It wasn't a blob anymore. It was a man. And this man was a Caucasian man. And listen to this. He was dressed in a white t-shirt, not a white shirt, a white, very clean t-shirt. That was the one thing that I noticed about this particular person. He was dressed in a white t-shirt, and I knew it was him because he was still making that sound. And the Lord God did that so he could let me know that's him. This is the person who is the cause of this second wave of C. Okay? He was dressed in a white t-shirt, you know, like those Hanes V-neck t-shirt those men wear, short sleeve. And he had on a pair of black slacks. And he was a Caucasian man. And when I looked at him from the side as he walked down the street, I said, and I could still hear the stones. And I was like, he didn't say anything, but I was like, I said to him, I said, that man looks like Bill Gates. That's who he looked like. He looked like Bill Gates. That was the first thing I noticed when I saw him. It's like he looks like Bill Gates. So the Lord God in heaven wants me to tell you that be very careful. Don't believe the hype of the vaccine because that's not yet the second wave. That's not it. That's just the vaccine, but that's dangerous too. And I have something to talk about with that one. That one there. If you don't want to be a zombie under their control, please don't take it. Please don't take it. Okay? But this second wave, yes, it's going to put people in the hospital. And that's why I'm telling you people, listen carefully. This is the message coming from the Lord God in heaven, just as sure as he gave me this vision, this HD-3D vision. Listen, if you can at all avoid the hospital, please don't go. Please don't go. And for those of you who are pregnant and about to give birth, you certainly don't go. Have your baby at home in a tub. People who did it before and they're fine. You're here. If you're older than, I don't know, just have your babies at home. Have your babies at home and breastfeed. Don't get into the system. The system will come for you. You understand me? The system will come for you. Do not get into the system if you can at all avoid it. Okay? Because if you go, they're going to try to stick you with that and make an excuse to give you that vaccine and then something else to give you this second wave. Okay? Don't go if you can at all avoid it. One thing I noticed during the first wave of C is that there were people who had gone to the hospital, right? This is not a dream. This is when I was watching certain videos of people who were posting, and they had put up a video because they wanted the public to see what was going on in the hospital or what, or with the police or yada yada, right? And this one young man had gone to the hospital, right? Here's it, hearing with this hearing. Um, this young man had gone to the hospital because he was just not feeling well. And then when he got there, he said, "Okay, I think I'm okay. I'm just gonna go home." And they said no. They told him no. You're here, and now you've got to stay. And he was doing this whole thing. All the doctors came in with it's at least five of them came in this room, and he started to he was videotaping this, and he kept saying, "Yo, I don't want to stay at the hospital." And he was getting ridiculous, and he was like, you could tell he was afraid, but he was trying to be strong. And then he had this videotape the whole time, and they jumped him, and he was like, "Why are you gonna do this?" And you saw that you could tell they all jumped him because you couldn't see him anymore. It's like they just, and you could hear all the scuffling going on the floor, and he was like, "Don't do this," and you could tell his voice had broken. He was beginning to cry, "Don't do, y'all gonna do this? No, don't do." And they did something to him to give him something that he didn't want, whether it was the vaccine, whatever. Well, the vaccine wasn't out at that time, so it was something they did to him. Okay, and this is what I want to tell you. If you can at all avoid it, do not go to the doctor. Look online to find natural remedies to help yourself, and for goodness sake, stay healthy. One way that you can stay healthy. How can you stay healthy? Those of you who think it's funny to go, you're sleeping with these people and you're sleeping with that people on both ends, with female and female. Listen, keep yourself, stay out of stuff like that. Because the moment you catch something and get something is when you got to go to the hospital, and then there you go. Keep yourself healthy. That's the point. Keep your temple clean. The temple is not a building. Read Revelations 21:22. The temple is the Lord God in heaven and his son Jesus. This is the temple. Keep your temple clean. Don't go do things you know is going to get you unhealthy. As simple as that. It's simple. So I hope you all, you know, listen to this video, listen to this dream, and I hope you all stay healthy and clean. And I love you, and I hope you be safe. And don't forget to store up, because we're coming on some hard times with a famine. So please store up. Get your medical supplies, any type of a medicine. I know you shouldn't go to the hospital if you can at all avoid it, but get the things that you need that can help you at home, so you don't have to go. Whatever that may be. So peace and love, and God bless. Bye-bye. See you next video. Like and subscribe.